Hello everyone. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go through a full flow instead of looking at singular components. And what we're going to do today is do a mass opportunity transfer. We're building off of an existing video, an existing project from another channel, and I'm going to let Alex explain what the problem is. All the links will be in the description, and we'll have some iCards to the original video and the original solutions. And then we'll go through the solution that I've come up with to expand on Alex's original idea.
Today's challenge is mass transferring opportunities. It's an idea that's on the Trailblazer community that was posted by Mark Dunn. In a nutshell, he asked, we need the ability to mass transfer ownership of opportunities the same way we have currently for accounts or other records.
So that's the problem that we're trying to solve. And Alex has actually solved this issue. And I'm going to show you in the next 30-40 seconds the different screens that Alex puts together to complete this particular project. What I want to do beyond that is to expand this solution to include multiple salespeople for the same set of opportunities. I'm going to use a couple of components to do that. The data table and the quick choice element. And both of these are from the unofficial Salesforce website. I'll have links in the description to all of these different sources, including Alex's original YouTube pages and all of the links to the unofficial Salesforce page to download these different components. Okay, now we're ready to complete our flow. So the first thing we need to do is remove this. I'm just going to take this and move it out of the way. First thing we need to add is an assignment. And this assignment is going to be for all of our collections. So we need to add our collections as well. And the collections are what we're going to use to populate our quick choice. So the first thing I need to do is create the 3 collections. Okay, now that we have got our 3 collections, we can create individual fields for each of these collection items. And do icon collection and then label. So then we got label and we got description. And what we want to do is add. So I'm going to change all these to add. And then I'm going to put in my values. So the first 2 are icons. So I've just selected 2 icons. The second are our labels. And the labels are important. These are what is used when you're doing the selection. When you select one or the other, it's going to use this value further down in your flow to do the decisions. And then we got our descriptions. I'm going to just put in 2 descriptions here. I'm going to click OK. Let's attach this. And then the next thing we need is a new screen. And we're going to label it opportunities to move. And I'm going to remove the footer for this one because we're adding a quick choice. And what I'm going to do with the quick choice is I'm going to make it so it just goes to the next screen, so we don't need the next button. Let's find our quick choice. We're going to drag it on, and then we're going to add our items here. So I'm just going to do this quickly. We're going to use visual cards, and we're going to have 1 column. We're going to show icons, and we're going to instant navigate. And this is what's going to switch over. As soon as you click the selection, it's going to go to the next screen. So our icons, we use our icon collection, and size, I'm just going to use medium. We need our 2 string collection because we're going to be using labels and values. So then we have our label collection under title card and our description collection under descriptions. I'm not going to use a none choice, and I'm going to leave required there. And then our master label, this is our question. So the user understands what we're doing. Our default value, I'm not going to have a default value. And then we're going to go to our set visibility. We're not going to do anything here, just leave it as always. And we'll go into our advanced to go to manually assign variables. And then we go down to the value. And this is the only thing that we really need is our selection answer. Okay, so our value, we're going to add a resource, and the resource needs to be text. So we're going to call it selection answer, and the type is text. Put in a default value of empty string. Done, and then we attach this. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is make a decision. So our decision is to either do a mass transfer of everything or to do a manual selection. Let's drag on our decision, and we're going to add in our question. I usually like to do yes, no. In this case, we're going to have the actual answers. So I'm going to use transfer all. So then I put in our selection answer equals, and it has to equal transfer all. And this is coming from the actual label. So we've hard-coded the label already so that we don't have any issues. We're going to add another outcome. We're going to call this one manually select, and then we'll just leave our default outcome, because if they don't pick either one of these, we just want them to leave the flow anyway. Done, and we're going to attach this, and then we can attach to our original part of the flow. This is a transfer all. So now this part is completed, and now we'll work on the manual side of the flow. So this is where we're going to use our data table eventually. But the first thing we need to do is create our screen, the same screen as here. So I'm going to do is just take this and copy it, bring it over and attach that. And I'm just going to change the name here just so it's a different name. And I'm just going to leave the description as is. And then I'm going to change the API names on these as well. I'm going to leave the labels the same, but I want to change the API names so I'm able to distinguish throughout my flow which item I'm actually talking about. Having the zeros or the double zeros, yeah, it's different, but you don't really notice it. It's better to put in something that's completely different. It's easier to follow that way. And we're still using our same choices, so everything there is okay. Then we'll click done. And then at this point, we need to get our opportunities. I'm going to pull in here as a get records. And now I need to get the opportunities. So use the label of get opportunities. And then our object is opportunity. And then I've got 2 fields that I want to bring in. What I want to do is bring in the owner ID, which is going to be selected from the list. So that's original, owner, and the manual. Bring that in. And then I also I don't want to transfer anything that's already closed. Is closed and false. So I only want to transfer opportunities that are still open. There's no point transferring opportunities that are closed. We'll switch this over to all records, and we're going to leave the automatically store all fields. I usually do that by default. It just makes it easier. Even though we're really only going to use one field, I normally just do this anyway. And then we'll do the sorted. So we're going to sort ascending by stage name. And this is just going to make it a little easier to look at our opportunities. And now we'll attach that. And now we need another screen. So let's put a screen on here. And we're going to need 2 items on here. We're going to need the toggle and we're going to need a data table. But before that, let's give this a name. Okay, let's drag on the toggle. And we'll drag on the data table. Okay, let's do the toggle first. I'm just going to call this add more and put on a label here called select for another user. So the idea here is we're going to have a toggle that allow you to loop back and be able to transfer to multiple users without leaving the flow. And we'll put in our labels yes and no. And then we need to add our value here. I'm going to create another variable and the data type is going to be Boolean. And we'll just make that false as a default. Then under the advanced, we want to go down to our value and use the same thing. Okay, so now we're going to do our data table. And this is where kind of all the magic happens. So we're going to give it a name and then we need to select an object, opportunity, and then which records to display. So we want to display all the get opportunities that we've selected just before this. And then we need to do our table formatting. So this is where we're going to select the fields that we want to display. Let's go to pick. And what I'm going to do is I want to display name, stage, close date, and the amount. And we're going to click next. So it gives us what the layout is going to be, which looks good. And we're not going to make any of these editable. We're not going to change any of the labels. We'll just leave this as is. We're going to snap everything into place. So basically it'll make everything go to the column width within 5 pixels for the boundary. So it should look a little bit cleaner. Let's click next. And that's completed. So now the next thing we need to do is we're going to display a table header. Automatically brings in opportunities and standard opportunities. We can edit this if we want. We'll just leave it as is, but it's going to bring in our icon, bring in our label. We're not going to show row numbers. We don't need to do that. We'll keep the border. We're not going to require anything. So that's it for that. And then we'll go down to our advanced. And this is where we need to create another collection where we're going to keep the rows. What we need to use is this one, output selected rows. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create another collection and we're going to call it selected opportunities. And then the data type is going to be a record, do multiple rows and opportunity. So now we've got that in there. So then we can click done. We're going to click save and let's bring this over. Okay, so now the next thing we need is we're going to have a loop. So what we need to do is loop through all of our selections, add them to a record, add them to a collection, and then we're going to save that or update the existing opportunities. So let's add our loop. So our collection is selected opportunities. Click done, link that in. And now we need to add an assignment. So I'm going to call it assign opportunity to record. It's going to assign the looped opportunity to the record. So here we're going to have to create a new variable again. So click new resource, variable. Okay, so we're going to call this opportunity record. It's going to be a record. We're We only need one. Create that as opportunity. Click done. And so what I want to do is have the ID, and that's going to come from our loop. And then we need the owner. And the owner is going to come from the manual selection. Updated owner manual. So select that. Click done. And we're going to join this. And then we create another assignment. And here we're going to add the record to the collection. Again, we need to create another variable. So this time it's an opportunity collection. And then we're going to click add. And what we want to do is add our opportunity record. So this is going to add our fields to the collection. Then we're going to be able to take that collection and update it. So we're going to close our loop. And so next we're going to need an update records. Click update records. Let's call it update opportunities. And the one that we want is opportunity collection. Okay, now one last thing. Now we need to add our decision. And this is the decision based off of the original screen that had, it's whether we want to create another opportunity list. So if we want to break this up into multiples, that's what that was for. So we're going to kind of loop back in. So we're going to ask them, do they want to run another opportunity transfer? And under the yes, we're going to look under another selection. And if that equals true, then we want to bring it back to the beginning. So let's attach that. So if this is true, we want it to come back to this screen. You can select either a new original owner or use the same original owner and use a different updated owner if you want to transfer opportunities to a different owner. And then we're going to have our no option, which is just going to be another screen. And this is just going to be the final screen that just tells the user they're done. Just going to do something simple called final screen. And I'm just going to add a display text. And again, you can be as fancy as you want with this. I'm just doing something very simple. And I'm going to go over to the opportunities page. And so we have 13 opportunities and all belong to Albert Einstein. And what we want to do is split these up amongst the various other owners that we have. So we have our transfer all, we have our icons, manually select. These are our two labels. And then this is the description underneath. So this is what all those collections eventually turn into. So we're going to click manually select and we can see our owner and our other owners. So we're going to leave that as Albert Einstein. The first one we're going to use is Astro Raccoon. And then we'll go to our next page. So I'm going to click select for another user. And we want to give Astro some of these early stuff. Astro's better at the early part of the process, and Appy is going to be better for the end. So what we're going to do is click next. So now it brings us back to our original page. And instead of Astro, we're going to use Appy this time. And click next. And this is going to bring us back to our screen. And you can see we have a shorter list. And I can just do a select all. And now I'm going to move these all over. And it's going to bring us back to our list because I didn't check anything. So now I'm going to uncheck this because there's no more opportunities to move. Click next. And it's going to tell me transfer is complete. And I can click finish. So now if we go back to our opportunities, we're going to see we have different owners. And all those owners have been moved over. Thanks for watching this video. If you made it all the way to the end, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. You can follow me on Twitter. You can send me an email if you have any questions. Until next time, this is Helpful Salesforce Admin signing off.